tools are better than others. And I will tell you, despite all these digital tools we have at our disposal, we have these videos, we have these audios. I mean, we are so fortunate to have all these resources at our fingertips. Nothing will ever take the place of a belly-to-belly, eyeball-to-eyeball conversation with something tactile, putting it in front of them. I'm telling you, that's always going to be the most effective tool above anything else, right? And of course, look, maybe you don't have the space. You're working during the day, or maybe you're working from sun up to sundown. We have several partners who literally work from 5 o'clock in the morning to 10 p.m. at night, either one job or two jobs. So it might not be practical. And for that reason, we have the audios and videos. But when you can, if you are able, I'm telling you, meeting with individuals one-on-one, belly-to-belly, eyeball-to-eyeball, or meeting with people at the briefings, at the live events is the most effective exposure you can have. So let me ask you a question. Let's say you invite someone to look at a tool, any one of the videos and tools that we've shared so far. So somebody looks at the tool, they look at the video, they turn around and they say, you know, I like it. I have questions, but I'm not ready yet. What should happen next? What do you do next? Anybody? I'm not going to give you the answers tonight. What happens next? You share a video, you share audio or tool with someone. Go ahead.
Would that be then the time to schedule a three-way call with someone?
Oh my goodness, Ms. Glass. If I didn't know better, I swear you're taking aim at ED. You are taking aim at rank advancing. Yes, that is the answer. You followed up with a three-way, right? And in my humble opinion, a three-way is the equivalent of 2 to 3 exposures. I promise you. If you add three-ways into your business, it will definitely speed up the process of getting someone to make an educated decision. Okay, we have Ms. Shardea Johnson. I see we have Ms. Daniel Harrington who joined us. We have Mr. Christopher Brantley. Didn't want to leave you hanging. We have iPhone. I don't know who iPhone is. Don't be a Secret Service associate. It's okay. You can share your teeth and eyeballs and your name. But okay, so you do a three-way call. And we know the purpose of the three-way call. We know what the assignment is, right? If you put Ms. Wells on a three-way, Ms. Harris on a three-way, you put myself on a three-way, you put Ms. Glass on a three-way, put Jack Poe on a three-way, Ms. Brown on a three-way. We know what the assignment is, right? The assignment is to edify the person that put that prospect on the call with us. The assignment is to ask that person what they like best. The assignment is to ask questions to uncover if there's objections. The assignment is to briefly answer the objection, either with a story of how you use the service or how somebody else used the service, to let the person know, yes, we can be of assistance in this area. And the assignment is to get the person to what? We want the person to commit to doing what?
Commit to watching the video and appointment, make an appointment.
Make an appointment. That appointment ideally is to the briefing tomorrow, right? The business opportunity meeting, right? You want to make an appointment to get to a live event. If you can't get them to a live event, you do a belly-to-belly eyeball, Zoom, or in person, or get them to do what? Look at a tool. The purpose of an exposure is another exposure. Now, after you have done a three-way, your three-way partner has gotten the person to schedule an appointment. You just don't say, hey, when you going to look at it? Say, if I send this information to you, how soon are you going to look at it? And then you schedule a time to follow up with them, right? So you follow up with the person. They've looked at the tool, or let's be real, Perhaps they did not look at the tool. What do you do next? What happens next?
You have for reference for other people that may want to participate in either of the services.
I love it. So we're asking for referrals, right?
Correct.
And we know the 3 referrals that we always ask for is what? Who do you want to help?
Who do you know? Who do you want to help?
Yeah. Who you know that's a business owner? Who do you know that's looking? Right? And I would discourage asking people, hey, you want to earn some money? You want to typically ask indirectly, who do you know that's looking? Right? And give them a chance to indirectly raise their hand. Because for a lot of people, talking about money is kind of like, you know, it's kind of like a faux pas. You know what I mean? A lot of times we don't want to readily volunteer that they may be going through some financial strain or looking, right? A lot of people are not comfortable doing that. So if you don't have a strong relationship with someone, if you don't know a person's circumstances, you may want to ask exactly, who do you know who's looking, right? Who do you know that is a go-getter? They're the plug. They're energetic. They're a serial entrepreneur. They're out here talking about business ownership, business development, financial independence, financial solvency. They're a busybody. Maybe they are in sales. They like people, right? Ask for what you want. Some of you are getting referred to people who are sitting on the couch watching MMA and Desperate Housewives all day. And you wonder why it ain't working out for you. No, you got to ask people for what you want, right? So you ask for the referrals. What should happen next after that? Let's say hypothetically you acquired some referrals. What should happen next? What do you think?
Do a follow-up.
Start using them. Follow up.
Yeah, you definitely follow up on referrals. Let me give you a clue. Who in here remembers Sears? Everyone here remembers Sears, right? Do you know at one point in time, over 80% of appliances in American households were sold by Sears? Did you all know that? There was a period in time where the refrigerator, microwave, dryer, washer, toaster, the tires on your car. Do you know at one, like Sears dominated the market, 80%. If you walk to an American household, 80% of all the appliances in the household came from Sears. Can we agree that that's a pretty incredible accomplishment, right? That's pretty incredible. I had the opportunity to meet the individual that was actually responsible from taking Sears to 10% market penetration to 80% market penetration. Had a chance to shake his hand about a decade ago. The gentleman's name was Patrick Hodges. Patrick Hodges came to our marketplace and he actually did a training on how he took Sears from literally just 10% market penetration to 80%. So Sears hired this guy to make this happen. They paid him obviously a lot of money to make it happen, and they did get their money's worth, right? 1,000,000 times over. And let me tell you, Patrick Hodges, the thing, it was fascinating because what Patrick Hodges discovered is that people would come into Sears, a salesperson would approach someone, and they would approach them, and they would say, you know, can I help you out? And what do we all do? When you walk into a furniture store, a jewelry store, car dealership, it doesn't matter, right? Someone rolls up and says, can I help you? You just walked in. What's the natural response? Let's be honest. How do we typically respond? I'm good, right? Include that. I'm good. You know, I just got in here. I'm still looking. Then what end up happening is the salesperson would approach the person a second time. So maybe the person settled on an appliance, they settled on something. And then the salesperson sees and gets excited. And they run up on them. Hey, you want to buy that? And look, let's be real. That's what happens when you go into stores, right? Retail, clothing, et cetera, right? And of course, usually, how do most of us respond when that happens, right? What do we say? Let's be real. We say, I'm good.
Yeah, just looking.
Just looking. I'm not quite there yet, right? And then he found out that people would, after looking around, they'd start to settle on something, right? And you know what it is, right? When they're settling on something, they want to buy it, but let's be real. What are they thinking about? They're thinking about, yeah, they think about that price. They start going into their phone, looking and checking the balances in their account, right? They call up significant other, hey, I'm about to make a withdrawal, right? And so the salesperson roll up on them. Hey, I see you're looking at this. Would you like to walk out with it today? And if they're still trying to figure out in their head whether or not they should buy or not, what's the response? No, it's like, give me a minute, right? Most people don't say, no, get the hell up out of here. I hate you, your entire genealogy, your breath stinks, you look like spam, don't talk to me again. Most people don't do that, right? They just kind of give people a soft landing and say, I'm not ready yet, right? Then what would end up happening is the salesperson would get frustrated, the customer service rep would get frustrated, the marketing person would get frustrated, and they would do what? They would stop what? They stop asking.
Right.
Yeah, they stop asking, right? Let's be real. Don't some of us feel the same way sometimes? You've done an exposure. You've done a three-way. You're like, bet, I got a three-way. I actually got this person to actually talk to somebody else. You invite them to an event. They come. And then you really feeling yourself. You can get them to actually follow through and look at something. But after that third or fourth try, let's be honest. Be honest now. Is it not true that most of us give up? Yeah, it's okay. Most people give up. Let me tell you what Patrick Hodges discovered. He discovered that on that fifth time that the marketing person neglected to ask, they would go across the street to Gardner White. They would go across the street to another department store. And do you know they would buy the thing that they were looking at in Sears? And it wouldn't even matter if it cost more. It wouldn't even matter if it was an inferior product. It wouldn't even matter. None of that mattered. The person gets to the Gardner White, they get to any of the other competitors in the area, and they're fatigued. They have decision fatigue. And the salesperson rolls up on them and says, hey, I see you looking at that bed. I see you looking at that toaster. I see you looking at that dryer. And the person says, you know what? Forget about it. Let's roll this up out of here. That's what Patrick Hodges learned. And so what did he train people in Sears to do? This is literally the secret sauce. This is the thing that he did that made Sears, for a time, the most dominant retail store in the world. He taught the people in Sears to ask 2 to 3 more times. That's it. That's all he did. That's it. The Sears executives couldn't believe they paid him all that money. He didn't improve the product. He improved the services.
Right.
He made some new marketing plan and changed the name. There was no smacking new commercials. He did none of that. He just got people to ask 2 more times. So on the 5th time, instead of giving up, Because if you've bought something at a retail store before, especially if it's an appliance like that, you know what they do. When they see you deliberating over the money, instead of asking you whether or not you want to buy it, instead what they'll ask is, are you aware that there could be financing available? I know you're thinking about getting this. Is it fair to say that you're trying to figure out what day you would like it delivered? Because we can make it happen on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. We can make that happen for you at 8 or at 12. What will work best for you? And then the person starts thinking, because they're asking a leading question. They didn't ask, do you want to buy? Right? Just like when you hear me giving presentations, you'll never hear me ask, hey, you ready to buy this? What do I ask? Do you want the legal plan plus the identity theft plus the small business plan plus the home business supplement? Or do you just want the legal plan plus the business plus supplement and the HBS supplement? Isn't that what you hear at the end of every presentation? I never ask people to buy. The next question I might ask will be, hey, is it fair to say this makes sense? And they nod their head yes. And I'll say, well, do you want to use checking or savings account? Debit or credit card? And any of you who've been on presentations, if you with me, you know what people do the majority of the time, right? They choose one or the other, right? And then the next question will be, well, after we enroll, we need to schedule a follow appointment. We need to schedule a follow appointment because nobody wants to pay for something, make an investment, something, not know how to use it, right? So we can schedule a follow appointment after you enroll. We can schedule a follow appointment. What works best for you, morning or afternoon, Tuesday or Wednesday? It's the same thing in the department store. They'll ask you, okay, how do you want to pay for? Oh, did you know we offered on installments? That's all he did. That's all he did. I know from conversing with many of us, not all of us, but many of us, some of us are simply stopping 2 exposure attempts too soon. You're getting frustrated because the person doesn't make a decision. I had a situation today transpire where a lady was introduced to me a month ago. I invited her to look at the small biz video, right? The YouTube video that I'm pressuring corporate to create a version of. They're getting closer and closer to it, y'all. I'm watching each new video they come out with, and they're getting closer and closer to duplicating that video. In respect. Invited her to look at the video. And Ms. Harris, you're right. I typically send the 101 reasons that you can use to plan as a business owner. She looked at it. She said, it's great. It's fantastic. I said, great. Let's schedule follow-up times. I know you're not going to make a decision just based on information alone. Most smart people I know want 100% info so they can really make an educated decision, right? She said, sure. So we scheduled an appointment to meet with each other, presentation, because she wasn't available on Tuesday or Thursday. So we scheduled the appointment. You know what she did? She stood me up. She porched me. So I called her up again. I said, look, I know you're busy. I am too. I get it. Look, I know, once again, you're not going to make a decision just based on a brochure or a short video. If I were to send you 100% of the information, would you take a look? She said, sure. So I sent her the Melissa Wilder video that gives an overview of the small business plan. You know what? She watched it. I'm like, look, what did you like best? She told me what she liked best. And I said, okay. I'd like to make myself available to answer any questions you might have. What would be a good time for 15, 20 minutes to schedule a follow-up to do that? She says, well, I got to get my husband involved. And I can't make any decisions if I get my husband involved. That was a huge error in judgment, by the way, on my part. When you're dealing with people, you should always ask if there's somebody else involved in this decision. Because it's that person that didn't see the information that will sabotage and they will blow up that client. They will do it every single time. because that person is seeing information 2-3 different times. They have a rapport with you, and the other person doesn't. And the other person starts feeling some kind of ways. They've been cut out the decision. That is a kiss of death. Do not do that. Every single time you can, find out there's somebody else involved. So I said, sure, schedule the appointment with the husband. Of course, you know the husband didn't show up, right? So I end up giving another presentation. Now, let's be real. I was frustrated. I was annoyed, right? Because I've invited this person out. They've stood me up. I've done 2 presentations. Husband refused to show up. You know what I did? I said, look, I know I shared that one video with you and you like A, B, C, and D, but there's a testimony from a business owner who actually had success utilizing our service, and you owe it to yourself, right? We have individuals like them all across the United States. We've helped over 4.5 million individuals, 100,000 companies level up and scale and grow. You deserve the exact same opportunity. If I share this testimony, would you take a look? She said, sure, I'll take a look at it. I followed up again. I can't even keep up now. I just remember the tools that I used. I think that's probably, what, 6 times at that point. She shared the testimony with her husband. Today, I closed them. Now, how long did it take me to invite that person to look at a video? Let's be real. Somebody, anybody, share with me. How long did it take?
Not long.
Not long.
They just,
A minute.
Right? And let's say I spent 3 hours total on presentations. Let's say, even though I didn't, my presentations typically last about 30 minutes, but let's say I spent 3 hours. So I spent 3 hours and let's say 3 hours and 15, let's just call it 3 hours total with this family. Between inviting them to look at tools. They enrolled in the legal plan, the identity theft plan, and they enrolled in the home business supplement, the business plus supplement. And then they turned around and enrolled in the upgraded trial defense. So the premium was just under like $90 or something like that. That's what it was. It was just under, yeah. Yeah, it was about $90. That's what it was. $90 for change. I know some of you may be thinking, man, that was a lot of work for $90 in premium. And let's say I'm a director. That means I would have probably gotten paid about $300 as a director, I think. Yeah, it'd been about $300 for that. So let me ask you a question. Was the 3 hours of time worth $300? Be real with me.
Absolutely.
yes. Yeah, I think so too.
Who gets paid $100 an hour nowadays?
Let me help you out though. One better. They use the membership today. They enrolled in the service earlier this morning and literally utilized it today. They schedule an appointment like 3 hours. Normally, I don't know what's been going on lately, but normally it takes until 3 p.m. the following day. You hear me say that. But the last couple of days when I've enrolled people, for whatever reason, man, they go into that app. They've been able to schedule appointments with the law firm and actually interact with them the same day. And that happened today. She called me up so excited. She said, I cannot believe I just paid $100 for this. And this attorney literally already scheduled an appointment and is ready to talk to me. I'm in shock. Can we all agree that that's a member for life?
Yes.
That's
And
member
yep.
for life.
And referrals.
For life.
Absolutely.
But you know what that membership is going to pay me over the course of about 20 years?
A lot more than what you got.
About $5,000.
Mm-hmm.
Are you following me here?
Yep.
3 hours, $5,000.
Question.
Yes.
So you said to ask if someone else is involved in the decision making. What would you have said to her at that point? In terms of maybe getting information for her husband to send it to him too, or what? How do you handle that?
I would have said, great, I'm so glad you shared that with me. I know you're busy, I am too, and I know you probably both have really hectic schedules, but what would be the best time to catch up with you both times? Like, when do the ships rendezvous? Morning, afternoon, or evening? And then you do everything you can to get that appointment scheduled with them together.
Okay.
Everything you can. Sometimes you gotta do what you have to do, but I'm telling you, you want to move heaven and earth to get them together at the same time. I promise you. Right? So that membership is going to pay me $5,000. Here's the other reason why many of you are not being willing to go through that many of exposures, is because you're forgetting there's a residual income attached to it. Every membership you enroll, if that person bites down and says, this makes sense, I'm a member for life, those memberships are going to pay you. Every time you enroll someone, you're banking. Anywhere on the low end, $2,000, on the higher end, $5,000 for every enrollment. And trust me, snowflakes turn to snowballs. Those deposits add up. If you do 10, that means if you do 10 enrollments in 1 month, you have banked $50,000. That's what you've banked. It's not a game. That's our compensation plan. That's why you should be willing to ask 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. Because when you think about it from that standpoint, people ask me all the time, why are you so tenacious about this business? Think about that for a moment. I mean, I think about that every single time. I'm not thinking about the $100 or $200 or even $500 deposit. I'm thinking about $5,000 every time I enroll someone. I'm banking that for the future. And by the way, because I know some of you are going to say, well, they all have to keep it. That figure I gave you is assuming they have a 70% retention rate. That's a 70% retention rate. Could you imagine what it would be if your retention was closer to 80 or 90? Hopefully you're smelling what I'm cooking here, right? And I'm telling you, it will make the biggest difference in so many of your businesses. I know it will. Because if you're being honest, many of you are giving up on the 3rd or 4th try. And what you should do is put those individuals in your prospect by PPLSI, put them in one of the campaigns, let that drip on them a little bit, right? Because that counts as an exposure too. And what you do should stagger it. After the 5th exposure, if someone hasn't made a decision, if they have not been willing to say yes or no, or I feel like they're dragging me along, maybe instead of following up with them 3 days later, maybe I follow up with them a week later. Maybe I follow up with them 2 weeks later. Maybe I follow up with them a month later. Maybe I follow up with them a quarter later, 3 months. Maybe I follow up with them every 6 months. You know, there are people on my list that I just call once per year. I just call them once per year. And I get enrollments from those individuals because 365 days, life has liked. It has happened to them. And the people who say no to you today will say yes tomorrow because life happens.
And they probably thought about, if I had that membership, I could have used it for this.
Yep. And then some individuals, I just acquire referrals from them. Because trust me, if someone's looked at something 5 or 6 times, they may not be looking to make a buying decision today, but they're interested. They're informed at that point. You can ask them for referrals, right? All right, I'm going to press pause here because it's running up against 8 o'clock, and Ms. Wells has a secret red buzzer in her purse that she taps when I go to 8 o'clock and beyond. Have you seen that? Have you seen The Simpsons when they had that one episode where they were buzzing each other? Any questions about what I just shared? And be honest about your experience, about this journey. Because I'm telling you, the questions I get, what's the secret sauce? What's the secret verbiage? How do I do this? How do I do that? How do I approach this? A lot of your success has nothing to do with that. A lot of it is just one more time. That's all it is. One more time. All right. Any questions, thoughts, feedback?
I don't
Thank
have a
you.
question. I just want to say to everyone that everything he just said is so true. He was very encouraging to me throughout my journey. Selena's been very encouraging to me throughout my journey. Snowflakes do turn to snowballs. And when I hit PCQ for the first time, I thought I was dreaming. And it wasn't even about hitting PCQ because I didn't even realize I was that close to get it. But it's the passion for helping others. And even though it can be frustrating because we get it and we know how empowering this service is. One of the gentlemen that I shared with when I was on vacation, he was 28, audio engineer, driving, share part-time, but he when I shared the information with him, he came back with me like, oh yeah, I do everything on my own, so I'm Gucci. I just laughed. I said, okay. Because he's a young whippersnapper and he thinks he's got it, so he's using Google as his resource. I planted a seed already and I had to leave it at that, and I didn't get offended and I didn't get hurt. But when I first started, I was one of those people who was like, well, why don't people get it? And what's the secret sauce? And how come this isn't working? Why aren't people catching on to this? I don't even worry about that anymore. I just laughed and went on to the next person, and I just sent him the referral link. I was like, hey, I understand if it's not for you, but who do you know? So just keep trudging on. I see Mr. Buford has edified, Selena has edified, and they have both kept me encouraged. And I see myself going director soon.
Director? You mean senior director? She slipped up, y'all. She meant to say senior director.
I'm sorry, senior director. Right,
Yeah.
right. That's what I mean.
I know we get tired sometimes. It's all good. All right. Another seed that I'm gonna plant with you, and I'll be done. Do you know that if you help someone earn 100K in his business, the company will pay you 30K? Did you know that?
Nope.
I thought about that today because I'm well on my way to that 100K plus ring. And I thought about how the person who introduced me to this business is going to get paid 30K along the way. $30,000. That person took 7 years. He recruited me for 7 years, y'all. 7 years I dismissed him. 7 years I turned him down. 7 years I disregarded him. 7 years I never took it seriously. 7 years.
Wow.
But as a result of that 7 years, my production and whoever's in that line and ED, that person is going to receive $30,000 as a result of me earning $100,000. You know, the only thing I think about is how the person that really brought me in, that actually spent the 7 years, he may get his 30, but he stopped looking for more Juwan Bufords. Ms. Wells is not an anomaly. I'm not an anomaly. All these people you see out here earning 50K, 100K, 200K, they're not anomalies. They're just everyday people. I want to plant that seed too, because some of you are thinking, well, in order for me to get to 100,000 or 200,000, I got to run myself into the ground. And then repeat it again. The individuals, that lineage that ended up bringing me into the business, they spent 7 years collectively trying to get me to look at this. Because they did that, my pursuing 100K is putting 30K in their pocket. So is the game to go and run yourself into the ground to earn 100K? It can be. Nothing wrong with that now. People do it. Or is the game to find 10 people who want to earn 100K, they go pursue 100K, and you end up earning $300,000 a year? What game would you rather play? And if it took you And if that 100K income earner showed up every 3 to 5 years in your life, when you look up 10 years from now, would it be worth it? Look, y'all, stop stopping at 4 exposures. Stop taking it personal. Stop getting upset. Stop getting dissuaded. Ask 5, 6, 7 more times. Ms. Wells, did you put your hands up or are you just navigating the vehicle? Okay, she navigating her vehicle. Okay.
Yes, but I do want to give a shout out to Maya Harris because she's definitely have grown. I can tell in her conversation and how she was just speaking. And I'm just so very proud of her that she stayed the course and that she didn't give up and she didn't quit. So kudos to you.
Thank you.
Yes, indeed, Ms. Harris. I'm in that 100%. All right, so it's past 8:03. I think I may have felt Ms. Wells' buzzer go off like twice. I don't want the third or fourth. Everyone have a fantastic evening. I celebrate success in advance. Look, we got a business opportunity meeting tomorrow, 5:45 out in Farmington Hills. And be aware that we also have the Saturday at 3 p.m. open house. So we build event to event. Everybody celebrate success in advance. Goodbye for now.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.